those that are defending our freedoms.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Lisa, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act announcements?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakes Town Road, Mount Olive Township, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Roll call.
Mr. Perkins?
Here.
Mr. Mania?
Here.
Mr. Ferrante?
Here.
Mr. Nicastro?
Here.
Mr. Walsh? Mrs. Laybow?
Here.
Mr. Roman?
Here. Okay, we're going to jump ahead a little bit, and our first item is going to be the Hurricane Sandy cost update. Mr. Canning.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to keep council apprised of where we're at with the FEMA and GIF submittals as to the costs incurred by the township in our response to Hurricane Sandy. We were very efficient so far, working with our FEMA representative and Fred DiToro, our OEM coordinator. Good news, the FEMA rep is here on the ground already, working with Fred, going through our paperwork submittals. What you have before you is a breakdown through November 25th as to the property damage we've sustained, which has been submitted to GIF. The emergency purchases, which when I reference Category A and Category B, it refers to either what they call emergency protective measures, which is generally a response by police and fire and all the ongoings during the initial parts of the hurricane, and the other category, which is debris removal, which we're going to be eligible for a period of 6 months. And we are continuing to submit those costs on a bi-weekly basis to FEMA. So our initial estimate of costs, less the GIF payments, is about $249,000 that we expect back from FEMA. So that process is going forward. We were one of the first towns in the county to submit that paperwork, and we're hopeful that we'll find most of our package complete and get us some recompense in short order.
And when do you anticipate that we'll be receiving those funds?
I was hopeful within 4 to 6 weeks. That's I'm always hopeful. But as they would say, the check's in the mail, and I'll believe it when it's in our hand. From experience, if we're one of the first, I would honestly anticipate late this month, maybe mid-January. It would be very helpful.
And is our estimate going around township, is that complete? Are we still finding things that have been damaged, or?
No, our estimates are complete as to property damage. The only thing we're going to continue to incur is our outside contractor costs for chipping. We are eligible for a 30-day period, which was actually very good news. FEMA's going to cover our straight time for a period of 30 days, which was kind of a pleasant surprise. So we're going to cover that period from November 1st to December 1st. That was the height of our chipping operations. And our equipment costs will be eligible for as long as we're chipping. The trucks, they cover everything, loaders, you name it.
And has every organization had been reached out to submitted their damage assessments?
Yeah, I'm very happy to say that Flanders Fire Rescue, Bud Lake Rescue, and Bud Lake Fire, they work seamlessly with the township. So it's a joint operation, and we're hoping to get the FEMA funds back as soon as we can.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement. You know, Sean's past experience from his previous employment is certainly a plus for Mount Olive. He's done this so much, he could probably do it with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd go that far.
It's not a habit I want to continue.
That's
I'd like to break the habit after the storm.
Ms. Laybow, you had something?
No, I was just going to say that he thought coming here he was going to not have to deal with that, and
It's bringing up bad memories.
yeah, but at least we didn't have, knock on wood, we didn't have the flooding, so it could have been a lot worse. It could have been compounded.
Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a technical that theoretically this was not a hurricane when it hit the state of New Jersey. I know that the commissioner from insurance for the state of New Jersey, as well as from the federal government, had made the declaration that it was not a hurricane. Therefore, people that are putting in for their flood insurance and homeowners insurances, some insurance companies were asking for exorbitant deductibles because they were classifying it as a hurricane, and that's why the term superstorm was actually picked over hurricane. So just a matter of clarification. As long as FEMA's happy with hurricane, we get the money. I don't care what they call it, but for any individual homeowners that are affected by this, it was, when it hit the coast of New Jersey, it was already downgraded past a hurricane.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions, comments? No. Okay, then we're gonna jump back on our itinerary. Is the chief not here? All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to proceed along. There are 19 resolutions. Bear in mind that number 19 was added, and 3 and 8 was amended. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I still have the question of clarification on the first resolution from the community garden well, that we got a grant for $10,000, and we're taking the grant money and giving them back the $10,000. I believe that Ms. Murphy can explain why that's happening.
This is a joint project between the Land Conservancy of New Jersey and the town. Land Conservancy purchased the fields on both sides of Wolf Road. The town contributed Green Acres money towards their purchase, and now they're coming before the planning board so they can start a community garden. As part of the community garden preparation, we applied to Sustainable Jersey and received a grant with them as our partner for $10,000, but the check is made out to the town. So what we're doing is allowing the Land Conservancy to apply that $10,000 towards the well, and then they will pay for it. We will get our grant money, and we will reimburse them.
Jointly from Sustainable Jersey,
Correct.
between the Land Conservancy and the Township of Mount Olive, we received the check, but instead of it being jointly made out, it was made out directly to us.
They make, because we are the certified community.
And that check was in the amount of $10,000?
We've received $5,000 already in advance. We will receive the other $5,000 when the project is completed. Land Conservancy will submit their invoice that they paid the $10,000. We will then reimburse that money to the Land Conservancy. So the town is not out any money. It's just passing through us to the Land Conservancy.
It just seems odd, Kath, that I get a grant, and then you've been doing grants for us for so long, and then I'm getting, in this resolution, I'm literally reimbursing them the grant. And if we jointly got $10,000, then I would assume it's $5,000 each, and if they are already going to get $5,000, why am I giving them 10? It still baffles me, the arithmetic. I don't understand.
We get $5,000 up front. We'll get another $5,000 when the project is complete. Land Conservancy pays $10,000 to the well driller. They show us that we paid $10,000. We submit that to Sustainable Jersey. They pay the town the other $5,000. We will then have $10,000, have not put anything out yet, and we will then transfer that $10,000 to the Land Conservancy for the cost of the well. Okay? And we hope this project is up and running next spring, and it will be over on the property on Wolf Road, just before you get to Vasa, right near Route 46.
Mhm.
And it will be a community garden open to any of the residents, and we really think it'll be very well received, especially because it's going to be located near, 1,000 or more apartments.
Non-potable irrigation well only?
It'll be an irrigation well. It is within the Mount Olive Village's water district, but they have given a waiver to the Land Conservancy so they can drill that well.
Drill that open?
It'll be an irrigation well only.
Thank you.
Okay?
Mr. Mania?
Kathy, is the total cost of the well $10,000? Is that the
Anything
total
that
cost?
exceeds over that, Land Conservancy will pay.
Okay.
Goes over that cost,
So our obligation is $10,000?
$10,000.
Okay.
And only through the grant,
Okay.
okay?
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I'd like to once again raise my opposition to the second resolution, the one regarding charging another additional 6 recreational sports, $10 per registrant. I understand the position that these additional sports groups will not be charged until they develop a program. but I, for the life of me, cannot possibly envision how youth hockey would ever do a program on any of our fields or any of our parks that would be as intensive as, say, football, lacrosse, and soccer are. You know, listed on there is the track and field, the volleyball association. These are basketball. These are all sports groups that may, if they were to do anything on our fields or on our property, would be a minimal impact, and to charge the parents another $10 per registrant, I think is excessive. Mr. Canning?
Thank you, Mr. President. I invited Jill Dagan here from the Recreation Department just for this resolution in case there was some concern tonight over this exact issue.
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
See, Jill's on her way up.
Because unless I hear something really substantial, I'm inclined to vote no for that, because I agree with Mr. Roman 100%.
We spoke with the heads of all the sports associations, and there are times when the youth hockey program did have a street hockey program that they played down at Flinders Park on the basketball courts, and we had to bring in boards for them, and we had to repaint lines for them and do a variety of things to accommodate them. They haven't done it recently, and at this point they don't intend to do an outdoor program that would require facilities, but the point of having all the groups listed in the resolution is anytime down the road that if they do develop a program, I don't have to come back to this entity and go through a month or more of resolution changes to be able to make it active. They all think that $10 is a very reasonable amount. It would be earmarked for things that they would be utilizing, whether it's replacing nets at the basketball courts that they use for the basketball program. And again, it's nominal for them. What they're looking to be able to contribute. Volleyball, we do have several outdoor volleyball courts. At this time, we don't have nets up on them, and the volleyball program doesn't plan on using them. But if sometime in the future they plan on doing so, then that particular resolution would apply to them as well.
I mean, I would beg to differ where the $10 is not excessive. Yes, $10 taken alone, I'm pretty sure isn't, but, you know, considering you have a family that has 2 or 3 children that play multiple sports throughout the year, that could very easily add up to another $100 or so, and that could be significant, you know, to somebody. And I'm inclined that if in the future, you know, hockey or anybody else decides to do a program, then we address. I would have no problem addressing it then and revisiting them. But just to have a resolution in the event, possibly, just in case, you know, it just is something.
We were just trying to be fair to everyone. Is all we were trying to do is be fair and have the same policy for everyone on the books. That's all we were trying to do. And all the groups were agreeable with it.
Mr. Nicastro?
Joe, you met with all the associations?
We
all the heads,
did.
And they were all in agreement?
They were all in agreement. None of them had any problem with it.
To it?
Yeah, everybody was fine with it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Ms. Labo?
I'm glad that you came tonight, Jill, because when you're explaining it that way, I understand where Mr. Roman's coming from, but on the other hand, I think it probably is a good idea to be inclusive of everyone. So you said all the sporting groups, everybody involved is now included in.
Absolutely,
No.
and it only applies for
makes a
the
difference.
season that they are gathering registrations for. So it's not retroactive. It's only for that which they're planning for the future, to the degree that they are utilizing it. You know, if they're only doing once, and it doesn't count if they're only like doing a one-time event.
Right.
That's different. We're talking an entire season of use that's going to end up requiring some sort of maintenance. And this is to help provide for them.
So if the, say, the hockey team was going to have an outdoor hockey type thing up at Turkey Brook Park, and you have to go out there and restripe everything and put up barriers, you don't have to tell them, oh, before you do this, you got to make sure you're going to charge extra. It's already in place, so you don't have to jump through hoops and
Correct.
get that done. So this just really is a time saver. Everybody understands what the guidelines are, and so nobody's
And that way we don't
surprised.
forget something, you know.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid that we get partway through and say, oh, yeah, you know, we didn't have the resolution passed. We already got their $10 a person because they're all willing to do it, but we didn't have it as memorialized in a resolution. I don't want to be caught in that because things are moving kind of fast. We have a lot of stuff going on. And so I
Yeah.
just want to have a policy in place that they're all in agreement. If they were arguing about it, then we wouldn't have gone this way.
Right.
But they were all in favor of it. They thought that it was very simple and they had no problem with it.
Okay.
I would like to draw a distinction between the, maybe the board members are in favor of it, but the parents are the ones that have to pay for it. They more than likely would not be inclined on another $10 per registrant being charged in addition. And forgive me, but I believe that's part of our part of the reason we pay taxes is, that our residents pay taxes is for our buildings and ground, to every once in a while do something for them, whether they have to go in and put the fields up or stripe. It's not as intensive as when this was first envisioned, of charging for the soccer and the lacrosse and the football, because that they are extensive users of our parks. Mr. Mayor?
I think ultimately, the distinction is that if we don't pass along the cost to the sporting organizations that are using it, and in essence, it is a tax, it's a user tax, no matter how you look at it, ultimately, the cost of maintaining any particular facility, whether it's a use which is going to be significant in your eyes, or a use which is, let's use the volleyball court, for example, if it needs sand to be able to run a program, that is a significant cost to the township. And ultimately, the cost, if not picked up by the users, will be picked up through the general taxation fund. So now you're passing along a cost that otherwise might not be borne at all to everyone in town who doesn't use the facility. And we made that decision a long time ago, that we were going to pass along the cost of, at least a portion of the cost, to the users. And everyone seems to have signed on to it at this point. I think Jill has been very forward-thinking in terms of getting this in place. I don't envision this actually occurring anytime soon, because I don't think that any of the programs that are included in this particular piece of legislation are going to be paying this fee, but I don't really see the downside moving forward with it. I really don't.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, Mr. Mania?
We do have a lot of seniors on fixed incomes, and if it's going to go through the general taxation, we have to keep that in mind. I myself, am on a fixed income, so to pass it on to through the general taxation, I don't think it would be the right thing to do.
And I don't think seniors are the only ones on fixed income. Some of us that work on reverse incomes. So, and if the expense of, say, sand at the volleyball field, if that were to be passed on to the general taxpayer, I don't even think it would even show up as a calculation if that were to come. Mr. Mayor.
But again, if you're going to distinguish between $10 as not being a significant amount to some, or being a significant amount to some, then $2 is a significant amount when you start to add it together. The bottom line is that the participants have the opportunity not to put their kids in a particular program if they think that the fee is too high. And that's what makes it equitable. If you're using the program, then you pay the fee. Ultimately, the sporting organizations decide what they're going to charge in the first place. Soccer decides what they're going to charge and what they're going to actually fund through whatever funds they raise through their fundraisers. Volleyball, as an example, if they were to choose to run an outdoor thing, they could decide, instead of charging $30 for the registration or $40, they could charge $20 and decide to run the money. And the fact that we're collecting 10 of that to actually help defray the cost of the maintenance is really what we're talking about here, which is, if you're going to participate in the program, then the program has to help participate in the cost of ultimately the maintenance of the facility.
And I would agree with you that $10 is not that significant for a family, but when you're having 3 or multiple kids and it's per registrant, per season, per sports, that $10 quickly can add up to another $100 or so a year.
I don't disagree with you, Alex.
Anybody else? Okay. No? All right.
Not on that one.
Thank you very much, Joe. Okay, we're gonna.
Hey,
The chief here?
He does have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the bad eye, Mr. Perkins.
it's going through my bad ear, don't worry. Now, I just have a question of the administration for the expenditure resolution for the community development grant for the drainage improvements.
Yes.
Do we have a anticipated start date?
Yes, we do. Speaking with Mr. Quinn today, as you know, the debris field is massive. It's taken a couple of weeks longer than we anticipated. I spoke with him earlier today. Our goal is for approximately a week from Monday. So we're looking at probably about December 17th breaking ground. More than likely, we indicated our first location will be over on Waterloo Road. As you know, this has to do with the community development block grant. We have six dry wells up in the Bud Lake section, which are in dire need of some drainage improvements. The hurricane has certainly set us back about 4 to 7 weeks. We even have subcontractors trying to help us out with the debris field. This cleanup is gonna take us past Christmas. It's gonna take us into January more than likely. We're gonna try to free up about 3 of our laborers from roads, and we're gonna try to get this CDBG done as soon as possible. Now, we have till July of next year, but that timetable is obviously insufficient. We want to get relief to the local residents as soon as we can. So that's our estimated timeframe.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I'm sure that your question really was just to educate yourself in terms of when we were getting started rather than criticism in light of the superstorm that came through and what we have to do.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no criticism.
Yeah, so it looks like about a week that we're going to get started on the project.
I would just ask, and on the public record, I know that you just mentioned that the first starting place would be Waterloo Road. And again, I will voice my objection to that being the first place. I personally, as well as 4 neighbors behind me, suffered severe damage during last year's flooding to our personal property. The Waterloo Road flooding problem does not encumber or damage anybody's public or their private property. It may be an inconvenience that you can't drive through the puddle and you have to go around different roads, but nobody's property was damaged. I would ask again that the administration look at doing Woodland Avenue at the intersection of Birchwood and get that corrected so that the 6 neighbors who live behind me can stop yelling and we can not have major property damage.
I understand fully, and I'll confer with Mr. Quinn. Again, he's the professional in this matter. He felt that that was the low-hanging fruit and the easiest one with the minimal amount of labor and expense, but I'll again confer with Timmy Quinn on the matter.
What I suggest, Sean, is that you have a meeting with Tim and with Ray so that all of the issues can be addressed and the proper decision be made in terms of where we're going under the circumstances of what we have to offer at the present time in terms of manpower.
Thanks, Mayor.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions on any of the remaining resolutions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to jump back up to our beginning here with promotions. Chief, would you be so kind?
Appreciate it. I'm going to try to stick to a script. Sometimes I go on and go off, but I'm going to try to stick to it because we're running a little late with a couple of things. First, I wanted to thank both you, Council President Roman and Mayor Greenbaum, all the council for that matter, for allowing this deviation from the normal course of business here. Tonight, I'm pleased to present 2 of our finest for promotion. Steve Beecher will be elevated to captain, and Jim Dunn will be promoted to lieutenant. Both have served the town extremely well for many years already. We will also be promoting a new sergeant, Amy Clymer, but Amy is currently out of the state. We'll give her the oath of office when she returns. Steve is here with his wife, Margaret Petaluga. They have 2 sons that are both here, Zachary, who is a student at Princeton, and Trevor, who is currently deciding which college that he'd like to attend. They live in Randolph. Steve's father, also Steve Beecher, is, I hope, joining us here by Skype. That was kind of our delay. Steve's dad is struggling with some medical issues in South Jersey, and he couldn't be here tonight. He's down there with his wife, Judy. Steve's dad is a former law enforcement sergeant who retired after 29 years of service combined in Florham Park and the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. Judy was a township clerk in Florham Park. Steve and Judy are also represented in the room by some good friends, Chief Pat Montori of the Florham Park Police Department, that nicely dressed fellow in the back, and Steve's good friend, Ron Bauer. We also have visiting Chief Simonetti from Roxbury PD as well. Steve's in his 26th year here in Mount Olive, and prior to working for Mount Olive Police Department, he was a social worker for the Division of Youth and Family Services. He's also worked as a counselor in a Morris County Youth Center. He holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and social services from Lebanon Valley College. What is that, home of the Flying Dutchman? He began his service here in Mount Olive in 1987. In 1995, he was promoted to sergeant and was assigned in the patrol division. In 1999, he was moved to the sergeant in the administrative division. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2000 and first ran the support services division. He later took over as commander of the patrol division in 2004. He's excelled in that role, and one of his greatest accomplishments there was the creation of the directed patrol list, which assures the public and me that police resources are correctly aimed at currently critical issues. Any of you on the council that have had an issue with a specific neighborhood, you've seen the result when that neighborhood is overwhelmed with a police presence. That's thanks to Steve. Today, Steve will assume the position of captain, which essentially represents a deputy chief role here. He will be the second in charge, and he is filling the position vacated just last Friday by retiring Captain Don Gardner. We'll have quite a bit to say about Don at his retirement dinner, but today I would like to personally and publicly thank Don for all he has done for me and the Township of Mount Olive. I've learned a great deal from him, and I will always have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I'm happy for his well-deserved retirement, but I will miss his counsel dearly. We will also promote Jim Dunn to lieutenant. Jim is here with his wife Ellen and their 3 sons, Matthew, a graduate of Rutgers, Jeffrey, William Patterson, correct? And Noah, also going to Rutgers. Go Warriors, beat Virginia Tech. After honorably serving our nation in the United States Marine Corps, Jim Dunn began his career with Mount Olive in 1985, initially as a patrol officer. In 1986, he was assigned to the Morris County Prosecutor's Office Task Force, and after that, he returned to Mount Olive to serve on our own narcotics task force. In 2006, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. He is currently assigned to the Investigations Division. Jim graduated from the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area course, known as HIDA, as well as the DEA Narcotics Enforcement course. He's received additional training in homicide investigation, sex crimes investigation, computer crimes, every type of crime you could imagine. He's an FBI-trained hostage negotiator. He holds an associate's degree in criminal justice from County College of Morris. In investigations, Jim has expertly worked everything from homicides to narcotics, from sex crimes to fraud. And some of the more notable cases that he has helped to solve were the Dalton Blyden bank robbery, the Russell Sweet bank robbery, most recently this David Caroccia bank robbery, as well as the Jenkins homicides, the Shemansky homicide, the Miroff homicide, and the Smitten murder. You know, I always remind everybody that even though this is a happy event, promotions are difficult and distracting. Our department has been extremely stretched during some very busy times, and I have to report to you, Mayor and Council, that all of our officers have behaved admirably throughout. And that is not a shock to me. We have excellent people. So without further ado, let's start with Mayor Greenbaum coming up and doing the oath of office. I hope that, are we still on or no? We lost it? Yeah. Okay. We'll try to tape that and send it to, we'll start with Steve Beecher, the oath of office for Captain.
Thanks. Steve, do you want to come up? Get someone if you want to have hold the Bible.
Put your right hand on the Bible, raise your left hand. Left hand, whichever.
Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. All right, you ready? Okay. I, Steve Beecher, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Captain of the Mount Olive Township Police Department, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Just Jim and
I just need you to sign here, Steve, and put your address.
I can tell you that every year I met your parents down at the League of Municipalities and how very proud they were of you, and I'm sure that had they been able to be here today, that it would have been a crowning achievement for them. So hopefully everything will work out for the best.
I certainly appreciate the efforts of the chief and Corporal Anthony, who's somewhere on the highway, and Sergeant Corleone for their efforts in trying to have my father Skyped for this ceremony. Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim, you're up.
I would like to also Skype in the future.
The Bible. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I, Jim Dunn,
I, Jim Dunn,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
the office of
the office of
Lieutenant of the Mount Olive Township Police Department,
Lieutenant of the Mount Township Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Jim, I need your signature here. Right here in your address. I can tell you that Jim Dunn was the first police officer that I met in Mount Olive many, many years ago. I think you were working out of the substation at that time. We played golf together in some outing. And I think I actually beat you that day, but it's probably the last time I ever beat you. I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. Thanks, Mayor. Yes.
I just wanted, Pat, would you like to come up and say a few words? It's your call.
Jim.
Why don't you come up?
Give me the address on this.
I'll definitely have to lower this, I guess. First of all, I wanted to say congratulations to both of your officers that received their promotions today. I received a phone call a couple weeks ago from Judy Beecher, and she relayed that obviously Steve was ailing. And a couple weeks later, we got some good news that their son was going to be promoted to captain. And upon that, obviously, you know, with sad news, there's always some sort of good news and pride. And they were so elated, and I was going to take Judy here, obviously, because his father was ailing, to represent the family, and which that is an honor in itself, because I had the unbelievable career to be able to serve 25 years with Judy and Steve in many aspects. And every promotion, as you see here tonight, I had the opportunity of having Judy Beecher swear me in, and Steve to be right there cheering right behind me, a person who loves law enforcement and has an honorable disposition and cares deeply for what we as law enforcement do every day. So Steve, I wanted to tell you and share briefly of how proud both your mom and dad were with regards to your promotion. So much, in fact, that she wanted to make sure everything that happened this evening was going to be prideful and honor. And what I see here tonight actually happened. And by trying to Skype, we call his father Beach, trying to get him to actually see it on a computer was quite a feat. I like to say that knowing you and your family has been a blessing in my life, and they've been a blessing in many people's lives, not just here in Florham Park or in the community that you serve, or wherever they touch individual lives, as you said earlier, Mayor, being down at the League of Municipalities. It's important to know that they're individual people that share themselves in many, many ways. And that obviously shows here, Chief, with the selection of making your captain, as you said, your second-in-command deputy chief for this department, is a wonderful one. And respectfully, I'd like to say I was honored to be able to come here and enjoy and see and be a part of your honorable day. And I will probably be on the phone with Judy and Steve on the way back with the major details that they want to know every little thing. So I would like to say in closing that it was a wonderful opportunity to share this with you. But where there is something sad, something good comes out of it. And you proved to your father with honor you served in the career he did very proudly for 29 years. And it's an honor to know you and your family. Thank you. Mayor and Council, thank you.
And at this time, if you guys want to sneak out, that's perfectly understandable.
Jim, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I'd like to add on to what the mayor had said. I too met Jim when I first moved into town, and under different circumstances, though.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, we're on to ordinances. There's only one ordinance up for discussion. Just want to make sure that everyone's aware that there are 2 positions being added. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. Before the meeting, I had a brief moment to speak with a township attorney. I would like to have introduced by title the ordinances that established a deputy director for the Department of Public Works, as well as the Division of Fleet Maintenance, which is no longer a part of the code and should be added under the Department of Public Works.
Well, we can do that if you'd like this evening. So we would introduce by title to begin to start the process. So if that be the governing body's pleasure, we can do that during the regular.
I think that would definitely be the way to go.
We need to have those positions named in the code. They're not there.
Absolutely.
So we need to, it's fine to have the position, and I understand that, and the thrust of the mayor is we need to get this moving by January 1st. Thereby, the positions, along with the salaries, are placed into the ordinance, but we need to create those positions and have them physically approved in an ordinance and adopted into the code.
Is that something that we have to do tonight, that you can do?
Yeah, I can read it
Okay.
by title during the regular portion of the meeting for
Okay.
new business introduction of ordinances.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions or comments? Nope. Okay, we're on to our first old business. Ms. Flaybaugh?
Yes, I just want to, and I'm sure Mr. Maney is going to agree with me on this. I have to say, while I was happy that the state came out and fixed the manhole cover issue on the highways, I am so entirely disappointed with the whole process. Now we got these big squares around each one of our manhole covers on the highway, and we all know that they're going to wear and tear, and we're going to have all kinds of issues. And
Well,
I just don't understand why.
not so much the wear and tear, but when you make a joint,
Yeah,
water gets in there.
absolutely.
And the thawing and freezing cycle
Yep.
expands things.
And-
And I'm sure
Yeah.
that by next year,
It's-
they'll be
it's gonna be
redoing
separated.
those manholes.
Yeah, and I saw where they put the tar in there to seal it, but they're going to have to constantly. So our money is going to be spent having the state's road crews come out and retar those little seams that they had to make because they just didn't do the job right the first time. And I can't believe that they would.
Colleen, if I may, you really can't blame the contractor.
No, it's not the contractor.
resident engineer
Right.
of that project, of the state of New Jersey.
Thank you for the clarification. You're absolutely 100%. And I just find that, especially in these hard economic times, to waste the kind of money. And the other thing too, it's not just here in Mount Olive. I've seen it on other state roads throughout our area. So this was defect or default in the whole entire
Well, not a
process.
defect, because the state didn't want to pay the money to raise the manholes.
Mr. Maney, if you could be so kind to speak closer to the mic.
I'm sorry. The state didn't want to pay the money to raise the manholes.
Right.
So they said, leave them alone, until we started complaining.
Yep.
And Sean got a hold of the resident engineer and wanted something done, because every time you hit one of those manholes, especially if you had
it was
false
a
teeth,
safety, yeah.
they'd go flying out of your mouth.
Yeah. Well, it was also a safety issue for motorists, and so I don't know. So I
And
just
people were swerving. to
Swer-
try to miss them,
absolutely, or
and
else
going
you're-
into another lane.
yeah. And so I just really have to voice my opinion on it, because I just think it's outrageous, and I just hope that any other projects in the future that. You know, Bob Elms, we all know Bob Elms very well, used to be on the town council. I remember him many years ago at one of the scout meetings. He was a Eagle Scout and presided over a lot of ceremonies. And he said, if you don't take the time to do the job right the first time, what makes you think you're going to have the time to do it right the second time? But it also goes one step further. If you don't take the money to do it right the first time, where are you going to get the money to keep doing it over and over and over again for years? So I just find it very offensive, and I wish that people would think more thoroughly on the jobs and see the impact. So
Well, our
anyway.
business administrator did his job. He
Absolutely, and I
He
appreciate
got a hold
it.
of the resident engineer,
And I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful. I'm glad that we do have it fixed. I just know that this is going to be an issue that we're going to keep calling them and saying, come seal your...
I don't disagree with anything you've said.
Yeah, it's just very difficult. But thankfully, we did get it resolved. Hopefully I'm wrong, and they did a really good job, and it'll be a few years before we have a great big pit there.
Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleen, that's why I commented on that during the last council meeting. I think you were here about the freezing and the expansion
Yeah.
of ice and water, and how that's going to be an ongoing problem. The unfortunate part also is that all of the manholes were not done. The one just past Allstate.
Yep.
When you get down, that's not been done, and of course, that's rattling a lot of the front ends. It's a sad commentary for the state of New Jersey, and I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. It's NJDOT, and really that's an acronym for no job done on time. Nothing happens. We had to place calls. I know Sean was calling. Other people, we complained when they did the milling, and they were down at an extreme depth on the milling. They came back finally and started doing the paving, and then did a really garbage job around all of the sewer manholes. Then they came back and cut those out and tried to raise them back up to grade, and leaving nice square patches that, of course, are going to crack. So, it's an unfortunate circumstance. I can tell you that, Colleen, you've been here as long as I have. When we put in the Bud Lake sanitary sewer system, I hate to throw stones in a glass house, but I don't think any of us here can drive down Sand Shore Road from Route 46 to Netcong Road and not feel your teeth chatter and notice the repair work that we ourselves had to do on some of the manhole covers. So it's not just the state, guys. It happens.
Mr. Canning?
Yeah, I can check into the maintenance bond. I'm sure there was one that was posted on this project, and find out if that covers this and how long the stay is required and what type of coverage. See if there's something they can rectify and go back to whether it's the resident engineer or the subcontractor.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other old business? Okay, new business. Okay, we're on to our first public portion. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go into executive session. Mr. Perkins, could you move us?
Yes, Mr. President, in accordance with Section 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss the Ermine litigation and personnel matters.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Minutes will become available at the conclusion of the matter.
Okay, we'll be going into the next room.
The little room.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call to order the...
Back into public.
Got to come back into public session.
Okay, we're back in the workshop. And can I get a motion to adjourn the workshop?
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Now, I'd like to call to order the Mount Olive Township Council public meeting of December 4th, 2012. Lisa, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act announcement?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Mount Olive Township, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Here.
Mr. Mania?
Here.
Mr. Frente?
Here.
Mr. Nacastro?
Here.
Mr. Walsh? Mrs. Labow?
Here.
Mr. Roman?
Here. Okay, we're on to approval of previous minutes. Ms. Labow?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to, oops, hold on. I was busy thinking about my father-in-law. Sorry. Okay. Which ones is it?
November 13th.
Oh, here we go. Like, make a motion to approve the minutes from, public meeting minutes from November 13th, and from November 20th, the workshop and the public meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes. Okay, we're on to correspondence. There are 42 pieces of correspondence. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, there are no ordinances for public hearing. So we're on to ordinances for first reading, with the second reading of December 18th, 2012. Here, what on the agenda is, for first reading is ordinance number 36-2012, entitled, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive amending ordinance number 3-2012, which established salaries for the mayor, council, department heads, supervisory personnel, and employees of the township clerks. Mr. Perkins?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I move that ordinance number 36-2012 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on December 18, 2012 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading, and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of law.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Anyone from the council, any questions?
I don't see a raise in
Does
it.
anyone from the public wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none, roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Semru, could you please introduce?
Yes, I'd like to ask for a motion to introduce an ordinance by title. It's an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive, amending the administrative code to establish the position of Assistant Director of Public Works and also the position of Fleet Manager.
I'll move.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any questions, comments?
We're going to number this ordinance number 37, 2012.
And it would be considered for a second reading, if approved this evening, December 18th.
Does anyone from the public wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none, roll call?
Excuse me, Fred, do they need to read the statement? Do they need to read the statement? The statement for introduction?
No, we did it. We
Oh.
just did it for introduction, so, okay, you can read it. First reading, you can do the first reading statement.
Yeah, I think they need
Yeah.
to read the
Okay,
first.
Ms. Labow, could you read the
Sure. What was the number that you assigned?
37?
37 through 2012?
Yep.
Thank you. I move that ordinance number 37-2012 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on December 18th, 2012 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading, and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of law.
Second.
Been seconded again. Any council discussion? Mr. Perkins?
Yes, Mr. President, one thing of the township attorney, if we could also set up the division of fleet maintenance under the Department of Public Works, same as sanitation and water and sewer and the other divisions that are set up.
Yes, and we would have to do that in the new year, though, right?
New year, yes.
So, but yes, we will follow with that, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes. Okay, we're on to consent resolutions. There are 19. Does anyone wish to move any to non-consent? Okay, I'd like to move number 2 to non-consent. Mr. Nacastro, can you please move the consent resolutions?
We remove number 2, you said?
Yeah, well, moving number 2 to non-consent.
Okay, so I move consent resolutions number 1 and 3 through 19.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, any council discussion? Yeah. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes. Okay, I'd like, Mr. Mania, would you move the non-consent resolution number 2?
Mr. President, I move the non-consent resolution number 2.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Any council comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
No. Okay, we're on to consent motions, the bill list. Mr. Ferrante.
I move the bill list. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anyone from the public have any questions on the bill list? Okay, seeing none, any council questions, discussion? No. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes. Okay, we're on to administrative reports. Mr. Kenny.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. I have two things. First, as we spoke about last council meeting, I want to thank Mr. Semrau's office for excellent legal advice. We've been conferring with Rabbi Rudin and Pastor Jones, as well as the following precepts given to us by Mr. Semrau's office. We had a meeting with both of the clergy, and following upon the advice, we reached out to every clergy association within the township and beyond Mount Olive. It's part of the Mount Olive Interfaith Association. We also had several follow-up meetings, so I'm very happy to report that that Rabbi Rudin, as well as some of the other clergy, will be hosting a menorah lighting on Monday, December 10th at 6:30 p.m. out front here. And Pastor Jones and other interfaith gathering will be having a tree lighting on December 14th at 7 p.m. out front. Now, this Friday, they've already reported to us what they plan on bringing as far as displays. We are also supplying several secular items to make sure we're on accord with the U.S. Supreme Court edicts, and we're very excited about this. We feel we're fully compliant with case laws set down. It's been very interdenominational. It's been completely transparent and reach out to our diverses of our community. And we've got the banners made, so we're moving ahead, and it seems to be it's going to be a great thing for the community. So that's set that for December 10th and December 14th. The only other item I have is just an update on the debris pickup. As we've said, it's quite extensive. We're trying to put it out on Facebook and Twitter as we can, but the latest report as of this afternoon, we have several crews out there. One of them has just finished the 1st through 3rd Streets along Netcong Road, and they're moving into Country Club and the Outlook Park sections. The other crews we have just finished up a rather massive debris field at Carlton Drake's Dale area. They're winding up there, and they're heading into Pershing Estates. So that's where we're currently at. We're getting a lot of calls from residents around the town that, once we go through, will we come back? Yes, we will be back. We're going to try to do one big sweep, and then we're going to start all over again, and hopefully it's lesser the second time. And again, we hope to have this wrapped up. Originally was hopefully about holidays, but seems to be maybe mid-January.
Is there any possibility that we can put like an interactive map on the website? I mean, I know we're already telling people we're at this street, but maybe a map showing, highlighting where we've been, where we intend to go.
Things are possible. We can
So and that's always something that we can later on use, because I envision it in the future. God forbid we have another event such as this, that we can again use that map to highlight area outages or anything like that of importance. So it's something that we can utilize for the future.
I think with Google Maps and some of the other apps and technology out there, we may be able to do that. I'll check with Scott Castle tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Ms. Leyba?
Even with snowstorms, we've talked about doing that also. I just have I've talked about I have spoken about this to you before, Sean. What I'm concerned about is the different trees that are leaning in different areas, and I know coming to Town Hall, if you take Mount Olive Road, or Mount Olive Road, and you branch off, you go to the left is Flanders Road, and then Mount Olive Road, right there at the beginning of Pershing Estates, there's this one property, and I see this great big evergreen, and it's a leaning, and I know like the next storm, it's gonna go.
Yeah, that one I haven't been alerted to yet. I know there's been several.
I just saw it the other day.
Chief Spitzer's done a good job of getting some information back to myself and Timmy Quinn and Frank Wilbur Jr. We've been notifying private property owners of something that's in danger, so
that's
we've been
my
on it.
question.
That's the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah, that one is the first lot when if you go left, you're on Flanders Road. If you go right, you're on Mount Olive Road. Right at that Y, that very first property, if you look, there's this huge evergreen that's leaning. It just caught my eye when I was going by the other day, and I just keep thinking, it would be horrible if it fell on a person, a car or something, and that's my fears.
We'll get on it.
And but what I want to know is, so for the homeowners, so it's like, are we giving them an abatement notice, or letting them know we've identified this tree is at risk, or?
We've been letting them know that it's potentially at risk. Obviously, we don't have the expertise as an arborist of whether
Right.
a tree is sick, diseased, and in danger of falling, but it's something that we've identified as a concern.
Mhm.
We've notified those homeowners that, they should take the appropriate action, and we document that we've sent those notices
Okay.
to these residents, and it's incumbent upon them to, I know if I'm the homeowner, I want to make sure I reduce my own liability, make sure I check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, okay. I know, I
Poor
hate to-
Don Rutledge, he took a hit.
I know, I hate to be so, it's just like, sometimes you see these trees, and I'd rather be proactive than reactive, or sorry later that we didn't do something, and so if we notice it, we'll just get the location, because all of us are out and about, and we can't just assume that you already know about it, because this one you obviously
Yes,
did
please
not
don't.
know.
And people, the general population out there is very accustomed to the iWorks, so we're getting regularly reports through that.
I know a few years ago I was telling Mr. Quinn about this one tree on Central Road. I was concerned about that it was leaning, and then we had that weird snowstorm in the fall, and there was leaves on the trees, and I happened to go by and I said, by the way, never mind about that tree. It was one of the ones that came down on the road. So it's always good to keep an eye on that type of thing.
Okay, Mr. Mayor?
I'd just like to thank Fred Semrau and Dorsey and Semrau for the very generous donation to the Candyland event that we are running this Sunday, and also to Sam's Club for the generous donation of flowers in the building, polyflowers.
Thank you. All right, we're on to our last old business. Anyone have any old business? Any new business? Okay, legal
Yeah, I'd
matter.
just like to,
Go ahead, Mr. Mania.
to make an announcement that I will be presenting a $600 check to the Mount Olive Food Bank as a result from the Knights of Columbus Council and State College, PA. I'll present that check next week. And I've thanked them. I asked them to come out and be part of the presentation. But again, State College is 4 hours away one way, and it's an 8-hour trip, and they're just not going to make it. The other thing, I would like to thank Sean and the Chief of Police. I had gotten an email from Mr. Clowers who said there was wires down on his street, and he had called looking for cones, and he said he didn't get any response. Sean checked into it and talked to the chief, and the chief responded. I personally went to the resident's home and presented the response from the chief. We were out of cones. Simple as that. And they were quite satisfied with the response, knowing what had happened. And again, I thank both the chief and Sean.
Excellent. While we're on the matter of food bank, Mr. Canning, what's the status of our food bank? Do you know?
I haven't had any recent updates from Mr. Wolpert. I do know that in my past conversations with him, the generosity of the town is through the year is usually very well, but since the hurricane, it's been very, very well received and well stocked. The last time I talked to Frank was about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Maybe I'll defer to Councilman Perkins. They've spoken about it at the Board of Health, but I do know that unfortunately they're very busy, but they seem to be pretty well provisioned.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that we, in the event that it is, we are either below par, that we are proactive in seeking donations. Ms. Leba?
We did get the email today with the update for the Candyland trick or trunk. Is that how it says? For this Sunday?
Trunk or treat?
Trunk or treat, trick or whatever. The trunk or treat, yeah. And anyway, they had said that some of the things that we are getting reimbursed for some of the items, perishable foods, but some of the things that I guess that they don't pay for with FEMA, and what we went through would be like items like diapers, baby food, hair products, personal hygiene products. So they're looking for donations for that on Sunday. So that's the thing that, as I understand it, those are the types of items that we need more of. So shampoo, anything, things like that.
All right. Anybody else with any new business? Okay, legal matters.
My report was in executive session this evening, so I have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to council reports. On recreation, I just want to point out that last weekend there was a benefit flag football event in honor to raise funds for a child of the Mount Olive Junior Marauders that was stricken, and for an event that was organized within 1 week, there were over 250 people that attended, and there were approximately 12 teams that played. And on a side note, I was not injured. So, and that's it. Board of Health, Mr. Perkins.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Okay, legislative? Nothing there? Okay.
Nothing.
All right, we're open space, Mr. Ferrante.
Nothing.
Lake or environmental?
Nope.
And library?
Nothing today.
Safety committee, Mr. DeCastro.
I believe we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow evening.
And economic development?
Nothing more on that yet.
Okay, senior citizen, Mr. Mania.
Tomorrow's the Christmas party, the senior party. It starts at 11 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. I plan on attending, and I don't know if anyone else.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Pride, Ms. Leba?
Nothing to report on Pride right now. And TNR is having another adoption day this Saturday at Tractor Supply. And very happy to say that, well, we had the situation where several cats had been impounded from a farm in town. And we were at our all-time high of 43 cats. A couple months ago, we're down to, I think, 21. So it's a remarkable group. They take really good care of the cats, and they find homes for them. So very nice.
Excellent. Okay, we're on to our last public portion. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none. Council comments, Mr. Perkins.
Nothing, Mr. President.
Mr. Mania.
Nothing.
Mr. Ferrante.
Nope, nothing today.
Nick Castro.
Nothing.
Ms. Leba.
Thank you. I just want to say this has been a really rough year for my family. In July, we lost my nephew, Jason Benton. He was sergeant in the Army. He had PTSD and was honorably discharged from the Army. He was career. He joined the Army right out of high school in 1999, and at the age of 32 in July, he chose to take his own life. And as a lot of us have probably read a lot of articles knowing that right now we have more of our military personnel choosing suicide than what we actually have killed in combat. And if any of you have an opportunity to contribute to any of like Wounded Warriors, any of the agencies that are out there, there's plenty of them you could, choose and help out. And also, just know that it is a growing problem, and we do need to be mindful of it. And then today we lost my father-in-law, Leonard Labow, who also served in the Army many years ago in World War II. And so tonight, when I was saying the Pledge of Allegiance, we had our moment of silence. I was thinking of my nephew and my father-in-law. And I am very thankful that we always take that moment to thank all of our military who are out there. And I think every single one of us could talk about family members that we have and members right here on the council. So, and I just wanted to say tonight, because I didn't want to bring this up just before the holidays. So, thank you.
My deepest condolences for your loss, Ms. Leba. Okay, I'd like to take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting adjourned.